And good afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Thanks for choosing Graps TV and the Sicko Show. I'm your host, the Matty Man. We're coming to you live tonight from North Carolina, and if you've got any friends, family in North Carolina, you need to keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Helen just hadn't been a nice lady today. That's just how it is. So, for everybody in North Carolina right now, I don't quite know what to say. I 40 for the first time in my lifetime is actually closed in several places because the highways are gone. Helen, you are not a nice lady. Just going to start off with that right there. And I was debating on whether or not to do the stream. I'm working on battery power at this point here. It's been definitely something to talk about today. And of course, you see a little bit of a difference here on the background here, and I'll discuss that probably next week on a pop up stream. But I do believe that we may have at least a partner. And if you're seeing everything I'm seeing right here, then, you kind of get it. Kind of a little bit of a diatribe today. Just a little bit because college football is going on and all that. And shout out to my Aggies for their win. Whoop, Giga Aggies. A lot of other people are enjoying college football, and a lot of other people are picking up pieces right now. So if you got somebody that's a little bit close to you, just kind of hang on to them a little bit tighter today. The death toll is starting to climb, and the hero toll kind of is starting to match the death toll here a little bit. I want to be thankful for everybody who ran to it and not away from it. That's a rare breed in this world. Hey, shout out. We got 4 viewers already. Thank you very much. And I don't want to be completely somber about it because we have a whole lot to get through and stuff that I did not cover on Thursday that, as if AEW wasn't causing people so many problems right now with, this TV deal. It's kind of pissing everybody off, which is funny, by the way. Um, Trying not to sneeze a lot. Been sneezing a few minutes before we got on. Aside from that, Swerve Strickland did a podcast yesterday, or at least released a podcast yesterday, and apparently it is not okay for Swerve Strickland to be making money. I'm just going to go ahead and say it that way. See, I haven't got my Zen water. All right, let's get out of this funk and let's start doing this thing. Welcome to the AEW Collision and Rampage review. We're going to talk a little bit about Dynamite. Guys, this is my first Grand Slam. I'm not even going to joke. I I'm looking forward to the February presentation now, just because based on what I've seen here, we wound up picking up an awful lot of matches here, and I think between Wednesday and today, we've had a total of 15 or 20 matches between Dynamite, Collision, and of course we know Rampage is pre-taped. I got you. I know. It. I'm kind of conflicted today. After Wednesday, I was like, wow, this is really, really good. And a few things were going on tonight that just kind of caught my attention. And I don't know exactly how I feel about it just yet. Because literally, I just turned the television off. I wasn't lying. I did not read the spoilers. I didn't know who was winning. When I did the prediction show, I did the prediction show blind. Got a few wrong, got most of them right. But I don't know what it is. It's like Collision is quickly becoming the project show. We know Rampage is going away with the new television deal, and it's probably going to get replaced by Shockwave, debuting on Fox. I'm really trying to keep a clear head about it, but the drones have just not let go. The drones are doubling down, led by their fearless Lord and Savior, Eric Bischoff. He's been kind of active today. Who knew he was an Alabama fan? I mean, he's got the attitude for it. Can we get real? I mean, he's got the attitude for it. The the overall discourse, though, I think we really need to start sitting here and taking stock in who's doing what. A couple other things here we're covering from the news tonight. Bad Blood's going to be next Saturday, and I may or may not cover that. I don't know yet. Haven't decided. Saw an interesting tidbit. It's been over 700 days. Sorry, guys. I'm really trying not to sneeze right now. It has been over 760 days at this stage of the game since a male who is not white, not Latino, had a one-on-one match in a WWE Premium Live event. And how that stacks up with the current discourse tells me an awful lot more about WWE and where they're going with their future. Now, you can take this one of two ways. Number one, you can take this as a lesson, or you can take it as a lump. But either way, you're going to take it. You're going to get this work. Because of all the things in the world, if you missed Covalent TV last night, which they're my good friends, I do the numbers for their podcast and their show. I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to learn. I'm learning as it's kind of like carrying the water if you're a coach. I coached basketball for about 30 years. And I started off as the film guy and then moved out of the film and started helping in other areas and eventually made it to the bench, made it to second, and then moved up to the next level. So what I've been doing is I've been keeping the numbers. I've been doing everything, been paying attention, learning, because one of the lost arts in this world is learning how to carry the water. If you don't know how to carry the water, you don't know how to coach the team. That's just a thought. Just throwing that out there. But last night was an absolute dream, and I'm not even going to attempt to mimic it at all because that would be rude. But at the same time, I want to echo a few things. Now, first off, I appreciate everybody that's in here, all 5 of you. And do I wish there were 100? Yeah. Nobody puts a podcast on to sit here and talk into the wind. Although I will sit here and talk in the wind. It doesn't matter. But at the same time, there are a lot of people out there that have these huge audiences. And they don't give you any information. They really don't give you anything but their take. And it's what I call an echo chamber. It's what everybody else calls an echo chamber as well. If you're a WWE fan, then those are the places for you. I am a fan of professional wrestling. If WWE happens to be doing some of that, I will be their fan. If WWE is not doing something like that, I'll watch it casually and wait for the people that I actually care about. And then I'll switch back and forth and so on and so forth, be looking up stuff from a show, doing things like that. But I can't say overall that I'm not a fan of WWE because I do like some of the stuff they do. The problem I'm starting to have with WWE is it feeds into this greater narrative that one doesn't exist, two could be easily debunked, three nobody's going to do that, and four it just is what it is. So here we are. If you think that because somebody looks a little different, acts a little different, walks a little different, and talks a little differently, that they are not worth what your whatever is, that's a problem. That is a real solid problem. And I'm going somewhere with this, trust me. We'll get to the review part here in just a few minutes. The average dirt sheet gets up on their stream, gives you a take that is pre-cleared by other entities to make sure that it meets the requirements for what they need. That's how it's set up, that's how it works. Whether they want to admit that or not is irrelevant, because if everybody is talking about the exact same thing in the exact same way, that is what we call a narrative. I don't do those. Covalent doesn't do those. If you want an echo chamber, be my guest. Go. In fact, we had 4, we got to 5, now I'm down to 2. Because we're about to get real. If you want somebody that agrees with you, I'm not your guy. I don't always agree with even people that I enjoy listening to, which is down to 1 at this point. And I want to echo a little bit of what they were saying. Here's the problem. You've got all these bad faith takes out here, and I'm going to break this down going into AEW because, quite frankly, it needs to be said. And it needs to be exegeted in a way and manner to where I'm not screaming at you, I'm not hollering at you, and I don't have a problem with people who do that. JD from Toilet Bowl up there, he does nothing but get on there and scream. He's got a couple thousand followers that show up every day like clockwork. As soon as he pops up, there they are, and they're loving it. And that's great. And all he does is sit there and shout stupid shit. And that's perfectly fine. I can't do that. What I will say is this. I'm going to do my very best at all times to give you the truth, to give you what I know, to give you what I understand, break the work down, go into it, and explain the difference. See, this is how we do things. I don't go, which way's the wind blowing? Okay, now I'm going to run my podcast that way. I don't do that. Covalent doesn't do that. We come walking in here, we have an agenda. And I don't have a problem with WWE. They're perfectly fine. Obviously, they've been here for 30 years or longer. Actually, guys, for real, they've been here probably 60s. So we are coming up on around 70 years that they've been doing this. So obviously they're good at what they do, and they have their appeal to a certain amount of audience. They are not, never have been, nor will be the end-all, tell-all of everything, but you can't tell people that. So if you want a podcast that I'm going to open up with and say AEW was garbage, I don't know why they're still in business, Tony Khan sucks. If you're looking for that, I ain't your guy. And I wouldn't be your guy even if I didn't like AEW, because for every ill quality out there, there are redeeming ones. I mean, when I look at WWE, it's like Covalent was saying earlier today. Chelsea Green has made lemonade out of pounds and pounds and tons and truckloads of lemons. So it's entirely possible to make a career even in spite of. But WWE does not make it easy on you. There's three things that WWE does that needs to stop, and y'all need to stop participating in it. Number one, WWE cannot, should not, and will not set the narrative for all of professional wrestling. They have a style, they have a presentation, they have a presentable manner in the way they do it. In other words, they're a hard cam style. They work on counts. They work on a lot of things, positioning. Then some of them have acting classes to cut in for the promos and all that, and that's fine and dandy. That is the WWE way. Then there are approximately 600 other promotions that do it completely differently. And that includes TNA before they got into this partnership, which, guys, can we have a conversation about this partnership here for just a minute? Because I am just now getting started. The soapbox is getting polished up because here we go. Rev Pro, a couple of weeks ago, dropped a little dime. And they said, you know what, WWE approached us to do a partnership. And we were like, well, okay, what's in this partnership? They're like, okay, we want this, we want that, we want the other. And, well, they didn't necessarily want to do it that way. And so they probably weren't going to be in it. But the telling part of that entire thing was at the very end of it. They were like, oh, yeah, and when this partnership is over with, we reserve the right to buy your promotion. You want to know who else signed that deal? You want to know who signed that deal? TNA. Now then, why is that important? Why is that important? Santino Marella, the most insignificant of insignificant trademarks to ever exist, ever. I was alive during his era. It was cool. It was neat. Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, it was constructive comedy. But as far as being a significant guy, a big guy, he was part of one angle between John Cena and Umaga, and everybody started liking him. And he just kind of ran off with it. The Cobra, the Santini, the all that stuff. That was just them keeping him fresh out there. That's how irrelevant and unimportant he was. He was basically the class stooge. If it was a Santino Marella act, it was funny, and I give it that and everything else. Santino Marella decides he wants to pull his own trademark, copyrights, and everything else. In the middle of this partnership, WWE files a grievance against that. So I guess we could say there's trouble in paradise. So the only question left for this partnership is, when are they going to gut TNA? That's not a real popular stance, but it's what's getting ready to happen, guys. See, I don't come up here to sugarcoat anything. I love the partnership. I'm going to be honest with you. Let me say that loud again. I thought the partnership was pretty one-sided, but TNA was still figuring out how to make lemonade out of all those lemons. They're doing a fantastic job with it. The question is, where are we at with this partnership now? And considering that WWE is standing in the way of a few things that are minorly insignificant to majorly insignificant to the grand scheme of things and the partnership and everything else, my question is, when are they going to take them? And I'm not putting that out there to make you feel bad. I mean, Lord knows we're not going to get the participation tonight that I normally get, and I'm fine with that. I'm good with that. College football is going on. Alabama's beating the shit out of Georgia. But you're still going to sit there and watch it, and there's several other college football games going on. So I get it. I'm not expecting too much tonight. I'm just going to tell you that right now. But what I am expecting to do is give you some of this good work right here. And that is the crux and cornerstone of my intro tonight. I'm picking up where I left off on Thursday, picking up where I left off on Friday, and I'm going to be picking up again next week on the pop-up stream. I'm not going to let this stuff go. I'm not so much mad at JD as I am his broadcast partner because I don't understand how you can be a person of color and work with him. Is his accent cool? Is that what it is? He's got a northern accent, so it means something different? No. I know I'm all over the place right now, but there's just so much to cover. So the question is, when will WWE cash that chip in on TNA? Since they're running around running blocks on everything they're trying to do that WWE doesn't like, my thought is it's coming sooner rather than later. But I think what they're going to do is they're going to get Jordan Grace. They're going to pick up Joe Hendry. And everybody goes, oh, wait a minute. They've got contracts. Well, so did Stephanie Vacour. Your point? Yeah, she had an active contract. She also had 2 active contracts with titles. And that didn't slow them down. They didn't care. And TNA, I'm sorry, guys, is still number 3. I know y'all want that to be the number 2 guy, and I know you want AEW to be number 3, and I know Eric Bischoff consistently rags on the product and everything, but Eric Bischoff never could get past a television executive in the first place, so fuck him. Okay? Plain and simple. Number 2, as far as the Swerve Strickland podcast, and I'm not even going to try the other gentleman's last name, football player that backed him up on it, El Duque, I think it is. I'm not. That's as far as I'm going to go with it. 2 things, gentlemen. Number 1, thank you for speaking out, and number 2, you're absolutely correct. And everybody goes, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean? Swerve Strickland, that's too much money. Okay, guys, here's a scoop that not anyone in the world who's making this argument currently is even thinking about. For those of you who are unaware, Brock Lesnar, who has not been in a WWE ring in over a year and some change, is drawing 12 million a year to sit home. But Swerve Strickland, the man who picked the company up and carried it on his back, is not worth $5 to $10 million on a 3 to 5 year deal? This is beyond make it make sense. Make it make sense is something you say for mildly stupid comments. This one is pretty close to that restricted word that'll really screw the algorithm up. You know that. I know that. We all know that. So it's time to put our big boy pants on and start calling things what they are and not what we want them to be, and definitely not what WWE tells us they are. Because WWE is that guy behind the curtain at the end of The Wizard of Oz. I had a lot on my mind yesterday that I did not get off my chest, and we're gonna spend a few minutes here. I'm gonna get every single thing I got off my chest, because I'm telling you right now, guys, I think we've picked up a sponsor. And I'm very happy to do business with them. And I'm very happy to come out with my brand, my style. I'm fully empowered. I'm emboldened, and I am emblazoned. I am about to whip out a nuclear arsenal because it needs to be done. The average WWE fan right now is the most you're personally are not the most racist individual to ever live, but you support the most racist company on the face of the planet. When Triple Nose drops out a little thing about, I think, y'all gave Swerve too much money. we aren't going to be able to keep up with that, is basically what he's telling you. Meanwhile, Brock Lesnar, who wrestled no more than 20 matches when he was here with a title, is making $12 fucking million a year to sit on a couch. But it's all right because he's all white. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back, for the people that hit this on playback. It's all right because he's all white. And if you got a problem with that, I don't really want you watching the stream. This business is a limited individual, it's a limited engagement business. You only have so many, what they call in the ring, you only have so much of a bump count. And once you've hit your bump count, you're done. This is not a regular 9-to-5 job where you can just head right back on to community college and pick up a new skill. No. This has a shelf life, it has a start and a finish. So all of that in between there is your earning time. Some people, Chris Jericho, unfortunately, have been in this business 30 or 40 years, and they are still active participants. That's one out of hundreds. Ric Flair, 1 out of hundreds. Jeff Jarrett, 1 out of hundreds. So if you can get a bag, Swerve Strickland, get your bag, back up that Brinks truck, I'm perfectly fine with that. As long as Brock Lesnar is sitting on a couch at home, earning $12 million a year to do abso-fucking-lutely nothing. No appearances, no signings, nothing. Like, but nothing. $12 million. And Triple H and that fucking Graga ilk up there talking about, oh, they're disrupting the pay cycle. How? You've been disrupting the pay cycle, dumbass. You've been doing that. Just go on and say it. You had talent underneath your wing. You had Pac. You had Swerve. Hell, you've had most of them. You couldn't do anything with them. They go off and they do their own thing. You're just pissed off because you couldn't do anything with them. That's a fact. But at the same time, the nerve, the balls to even float that out there. Losing some respect for you, buddy. And I'm going to tell you something else, Eric. I never had any respect for you. So if it sounds like I don't respect you, you have hit the nail on the head, old man. Go worry about your damn bankruptcy and let the rest of us handle the wrestling analysis, okay? So I'm screaming in the wind now. A year from now, I will not be. Bookmark that. The other part of it that really bothers me a lot is how we're talking about the women. I really can't figure out what the Fed is doing. The inmates are definitely running the asylum. They had a group sitting on NXT, and I can't remember because they changed faction names like I changed my underwear. But they were like, oh, we're here in NXT, and NXT has the best women's division. Motherfucker, you are a development division. Shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. You are the developmental territory of WWE. Who approved that promo? If you really want me to get surgical, I can get surgical. But since everybody's decided I'm some AEW shill, which I'm not, if you really want me to explain to you what the problem is with the friendly product, I'm getting started right now. You are the development. Say it with me, boys and girls. You are the development division of a pre-fucking determined sport. It has a predetermined outcome. And you are the development of a predetermined outcome. And you're standing there going, oh, we got the best women's division in all of professional wrestling. Dude, you just buried 2 shows. And WWE fans are like, yeah, they got the best. Shut the hell up. Seriously. And then we're going to really... Said I wasn't going to get mad. Said I wasn't going to get mad. Said I wasn't going to get mad. And I'm not going to get mad. But Eric fucking Bischoff, they took everything you ever did creatively and they shit all over it. And you shill for them like a $2 whore on a street corner. Bully Ray. They took everything you ever did and shit all over it, and you shill for them like a $2 whore on the corner. What kind of men are you? What kind of men are you? Because from where I'm sitting right now, I don't know if you got your nuts snipped or what. They took Eric. Let's get real here for a minute. Since you like to quote tweet me all the time, quote tweet this motherfucker. They took every damn pay-per-view you ever came up with. The Great American Bash is an NXT. It is a developmental, hey, look at our prizes. They took what you... That's part of the problem I have with them at all times. Like literally, they took your creations, bastardized them, and you're sitting there going, like a damn trained seal. Clip that. I get a new one every day, you know? I mean, I'm glad you guys are paying attention to me because obviously I got 4 viewers right now. Thank you guys for sticking with me. So obviously I'm not on your level according to you and according to me. I'm not there yet. I'm working on it. I'm developing my viewers. I'm developing my people. I'm not on your level, so I'm probably not that significant. The problem is, you can't deal with what I'm saying because you got no rebuttal for that, son. And listen to me, fat boy, you ain't got a rebuttal for it either. Everything that you held near and dear to your heart isn't even a finishing spot in most, and definitely is the fucking joke of WWE. And you guys sit there and shill for them like trained seals. Now, Mark Henry, I'm going to cut you a break. You got a son, you're trying to break him in. I get it. As a father, I get it. Mark Henry, as a father, I get it. You got a dog in this fight. I get it. Taz looks after Hook the same way. You know what? We all look after our sons that way. That's the way it's supposed to be, man. I get it. And you're in an uncomfortable position sitting around with a whole bunch of hacks and shields. Drones. Drone babble. But you can smile and nod and not go along with it, guy. They were good to you at AEW. They treated you like family, dude. You got benefits and everything, man. You got benefits like it was a 9 to 5 job. And you walked away from all that, walked right into a booth and immediately started shitting on the company. You're a piece of work, man. JD from Toilet Bowl. You're a fucking racist. And if my name comes out of your mouth, it better be, I'm sorry, sir. You can clip that too. Anybody wants to clip that, send it to JD from Nutsville. His nickname should have been Swallowed. Jackass. And it's like what Daryl said the other night. The only reason you even get over is because you were an announcer for Hog and you've got like a funny accent. That's it. You, Xenia, all of you. That's right. I called it. Guys, if I've only got 4, I'll preach to 4. And I'm fine with those 4. Because you know what? When I go to bed tonight, I can honestly say that I didn't shill for a damn thing. Nobody directs my narrative. I spend all day researching, thinking about it, putting it together, diving into these. Oh, God. Some of y'all are more in dire need of an ass whipping than any kid in history. And some of you never got your lunch money took, and it really fucking shows. And I don't mean to be this serious on a Saturday night. My Aggies won. I'm feeling bad for my kid in there. Georgia's getting their ass beat. I'm feeling bad for him because he was looking forward to this game. He's a Georgia fan. And, you know, they're sitting in there dealing with, I get all that. Today was football Saturday. I'm going to figure something else out. Maybe do this early on a Sunday before the football games kick off or something to that effect. I'll change the time up to accommodate all this. And I may go live again tomorrow just to get a few more things off my chest. I get all that. And I'm not going to let it kill my shine because I had a thought when I came on here tonight, and I haven't even pulled up I haven't even gotten into the first match yet because there is just so much in the IWC right now that is so wrong that it's becoming unwatchable. A lot of you are becoming unwatchable. Because I hate to see intelligent people I consider to be reasonably smart, get bowled over by this crap all the time. Let me go over a couple of things, then I'm going to get into it. Because we ain't even really got started yet, and we're already 40 minutes in. I did not realize it was going to be this long. Let me go through one more thing, then we're going to get to the results. Because I got a lot on my mind about wrestling tonight, too. Hey, shout out to that other viewer come in there, too, man. Thanks, man. Like, comment, share. Drop a comment in here. I don't mind. You know, I'll answer them. If I can see it, I'll answer it. Even if it's even if you don't like what I got to say, just say, you know what, you're a dumbass. We'll talk about it. I'm good with that. I can have a discussion with anybody. I can have a shouting match with anybody. I can have a discussion. I can have a debate. However you want to do it's how we can do it. I did politics for 14 years. Half of you guys are just not that good and you're not that smart. And I know there's some people rage watching because there's only 5 of y'all, and by the end of the week, I'll have 1,000 views on this thing. Maybe 500. Okay, maybe I'm getting a little crazy here. So I know there are some people who rage watch, and I'm perfectly fine with that. If you rage watch, go rage watch. If you don't like what I got to say, prove it wrong. We are right, they are wrong. That is the end of the discussion. And here's why we're right and they're wrong. Here's how this works. I'm going to break this down for you. I'm going to hit every single drone comment I've seen today, and I'm going to do it in less than 3 minutes. Here we go. WWE has a new plan. They've had a new plan for quite a while. Some people don't realize this yet, but the average ticket price to go see a WWE event now, and you're going to be 10 rows back minimum. The average price to go see a WWE event now is $200. Nosebleeds that are non-televised events are going for $100. I'm talking about not even behind hard cam. I'm talking about up in the damn corner of the very building where the birds shit and leave eggs. Those are $97. That's what the price was for Nashville. $97 to sit behind a steel girder and get bird shit all over you half the night to see a WWE event. Now, let me break that down for you. An average family of four is going to spend $500 between parking and tickets. If they sit in the nosebleed section, you got a father, a couple of kids, and an occasional wife. So that's a family of four. After taxes, just the in-the-door price, $400. We haven't even gotten to the building yet. That's going to cost you some gas. Parking's going to be about $20. Then if you've got kids, you're not going to be able to get out the door without buying some merch. The average t-shirt price is going to run about $50. So the average family of four in Nashville this past couple of weeks to go see a WWE event, not even a televised event, they're going to spend $500. As soon as that camera goes on, double all of that shit. And what WWE is doing now is instead of just, they've stopped with the bantering because they don't have to do it anymore. This is what the Russians called scorched earth war. You see, the reason you couldn't beat the Russians, this is a history lesson real quick. The reason the Russians were so hard to beat is because most of their cities were inside of their country. So what they would do is they would draw you in and they would hold you off until the wintertime. Then they would burn roughly about 2 to 6 miles of woods, everything, just start a massive fire, burn everything. And then just wait for you to get drawn into one of their winters. Then they didn't even have to fight. That's where we get the term scorched earth politics. This is how that works. So instead of running a regular multi-million-dollar campaign to say that AEW sucks, they just turn up their own rhetoric and get you sucked in just a little bit deeper, and then they slightly and gradually raise their prices until they take the money out of the economy. Once the money is out of the economy, not just AEW, this is GCW, PMW, all the W's. If they try to come back through, if another promotion tries to come through Nashville, and Nashville was not even a televised event. One of the events in Nashville, not even televised. So if another promotion tries to come through Nashville within the next 2 to 3 months, there's no money for it. Because WWE has already rolled in there and dried it all up. So WWE really doesn't have to do anything but exist. So you say, oh, well, look at all these tarps and stuff. That's because the money was already dried up. What you're seeing right there are the actual solid, not casual viewers, your actual solid AEW fans. And in many ways, here's what you're actually seeing are actual wrestling fans who will spend their last dollar to also support another promotion. And I feel sorry for Chicago because Chicago's about to get bent over the table. Because you got WWE coming in, you got Raw coming in, you got NXT coming in, and you got a SmackDown show coming through in the next couple of months after that. That town will be dead for everybody. Now, what I'm waiting on is for these other promotions that supposedly are running hand in hand with WWE to go, hey, wait a minute, guys. You're not leaving any money for us. So, see, WWE honestly does not have to do anything at this point. And the mice will never understand why the cheese is free. I'm going to let that sit right there for just a minute. So, in a span of roughly about 3 minutes, I just answered all of your drones. That translates back into television. That translates into the look. That translates into a lot of things. But here's what you're starting to see. Did anybody notice how empty the building was for Raw? Did anybody notice how many tarps they had up for SmackDown? And the only reason that NXT is not following suit until next week, when they roll up there and they try to dry it up again, the only reason NXT didn't look like shit is because the place that they work out of only seats like 200 people. It's not hard to find 200 people to fill a building, especially if the marquee says WWE, AEW, or even GCW. GCW sells out now. But to answer all of your dronisms in 3 minutes or less, WWE only has to show up now. Clash at the Castle, the nosebleeds, the nosebleeds, the nosebleeds. And you can fact check me with the Ticketmaster or whichever one they were using. I forget exactly which one they were using. I looked it up, and literally I thought Daryl was going to fall out of his chair when I'm like, no, they're just draining the money out, dude. He's like, how do you figure? He didn't even realize it. If you're sitting left to hard cam for Clash at the Castle, at the very top behind the steel girder where a bird can shit on you while you're watching, that one single ticket, $497 American. If you were sitting behind the hard cam at the very back of the building, you were spending $567 American for one seat. One. The in the door price, $497, $567, depending on what side of the nosebleeds you were sitting on. That town's dried up for the rest of the year. And I tell you what's going to wind up happening. They've got a thing over there. And everybody's like, this is going to be the death of it. This is going to be the death of it. I'm telling you right now what's going to be the death of it. I tell you where this is going to stop. Europeans have this really wonderful troop mentality. They're very artsy people. And one of the things that I follow is a drum corps. Top Secret, to be exact. I follow a drum corps called Top Secret because I'm just weird like that. I saw Drumline, I liked it. Those are my kind of movies. And like we have basketball, football, hockey, baseball, wrestling. They have band competitions quite regularly. You should check them out too. Top Secret. They're a hell of a percussion group. Very well coordinated. And they all work 9 to 5 jobs, and they do this competition on the regular. Here's where WWE is going to shit its mess kit in Europe. Those things are more important to the culture of that society, and they cost money too. So when you dry a town up for wrestling, you also dry a town up for arts and entertainment. So that 497 and 567, that's going to last maybe another year. And then all these other people are going to be going, you know what? We're not making any money because of things like that, too. That's going to be the death of WWE in Europe. I'll probably have more on this because I really want to get to the results. I want to get you guys out of here because, like I said, football's still kicking on. I think there's some West Coast games going on. I don't want to get in there. For those of you who are watching me, I don't want to hold up your football and all that. We are going to discuss doing something different. Probably Sunday morning I'll do my show and then go to church. That's pretty much it. I'll probably wake up on a Sunday morning, do my show, and then go to church. Probably a good thing. Probably get the more viewers while we're in college football and professional football season. I can work myself into that little area. I can figure that part out because I've at least got to wait for Collision. So that's going to be our plan going forward right now because I know that, I would like to have viewers, but I understand that the season is the season is the season. And if I had to decide whether I was going to watch Texas A&M or a podcast, Texas A&M. Okay, I'm with you. I understand. But we're going to pick this WWE thing back up either tomorrow or next week. I'm going to get into a little bit more detail about that. I'm just getting started on it. We're an hour into this. I apologize. I did not intend to take that long. But here we are, and I haven't even scratched the surface of what's on my mind. But, it's like I tell everybody all the time. You can get sweet lies over there. I think JD's throwing some sweet lies out right now. If you want some of those. Bleacher Reports, they probably got some free lies if you want those. They got some free lies and speculation. Free of charge. You can show up. I'm free 99 too, but if if that floats your fancy, that's fine. Because if you come in here from here on out, we are going all out. We are all in and we are going all out for AEW at this point. AEW has a television deal. They're going to be around for another 3 years minimum, so get used to it and get over yourself. Because we ain't going nowhere, baby. Not at all. Not even a little bit. But we are going to get into the matches. I'm going to kick in here with Rampage was worth the viewership of what they got. Rampage kicked off. I got to say, I knew House of Black. I'm really, really hoping that we turn the corner with Malachi Black because I think that we've got chapters we haven't even started with yet. Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, fresh off of his wedding. Congratulations, Buddy Matthews. This was, to me, it was just a little bit of a mini cheat code. Hey, we're back up to 5. Thanks, guys. Thanks for taking time out of your football to hang out with me. Appreciate you. The one thing I will continue to say over and over and over again is that Lio Rush has gone from pariah to underappreciated wrestler of the year. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to die on that hill. Lio Rush is definitely somebody I could build a junior heavyweight division around easily. And if I had about 6 more just like him, oh my goodness, the first hour of every single show would be nothing but that. Get the crowd going, get them hyped. Leo knows how to pull it off. Action Andretti, I don't know what's going through his mind right now. I don't know where creative is with him, but whichever direction they're going with right now, not a good direction, not a good look on this one. If you've got something that's working, intentionally trying to break it up, I don't consider that good storytelling. Some people do, I don't. And I think that's a real problem. I think it showed up in the match a little bit. But the reality of it is, Lio Rush carried the day. Malachi Black carried it for his side of the team. I really hope whatever this beef is that him and Tony can cook it up and eat it, because Malachi, we've got volumes and chapters and volumes and chapters that we haven't even started talking about yet with Malachi Black. And I don't not even gotten to Buddy Matthews. We got layers of him that we ain't seen. And Julia Hart, from what I understand, is close to coming back. When she gets back, and we have the full House of Black again, and Julia Hart's back out on the rim, there is absolutely nothing this faction cannot do. And they've proved it. They've shown up. They've showed out. Whole 9 yards. Of course, Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews pick up the win. But not without a struggle, not without a fight. Lio Rush does his usual stuff, and Lio has mastered the art of gotcha. Diversion, deflection, whatever you want to call that style he's working right now. He's mastered it. It's entertaining. I enjoy it. There's absolutely no difference between it and what you would call traditional WWE story work. The only difference is all these stories are being told in the ring. Obviously, Rampage is less promo, more wrestling, so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, it's like Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews pick up the win. And of course, Action Andretti is doing the Action Andretti thing. I don't know if they're going to bust him out and do a singles run with him. If that's what they're going to do, go ahead and get that show on the road, man. Because he's screwing up the vibe. Whatever they're doing right now, the vibe is just not there. It's noticeable. That fun vibe that you normally get out of them is just not there. So let's do everybody a favor and just go ahead and either split them up or cook this beef up. Same thing with Malachi Black and Tony Khan. Whatever's going on there, guys, cook it up and eat it. Because, Tony, you need Malachi. And I'm going to tell you right now, Malachi, if you go back and sign on the dotted line, you are going to get nerfed in a way like nobody else has ever gotten nerfed. So don't do it. I know you want to go back. I know your wife's there. I got it. But she can always come to AEW. Her contract's almost up. They're not utilizing her either. So what do y'all want to do? Just go there and collect a paycheck? You want to stay here and be creative? That's your call, dude. That is legit your call. Shout out to the 6 that are sharing me with the football game. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate it. I really do. My viewership, I do appreciate. Don't get me wrong. I say I will talk to the breeze, but I always like having people listening. I'm happy with that. I really am. Thank you very much. Following that, Anna Jay, back from New Japan, versus Robin Renegade. This was a back and forth. This was definitely a skilled match, and I do believe if I am an observant man, and I am, the one thing that I noticed that popped on social media, because I watch social media while the matches are going to see which way the wind's blowing, to see what kind of a draw they're getting, what kind of rejection they're getting. By the way, AEW, not a damn soul wants to see Max Caster anymore. He's getting more and more go-away heat, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Anna Jay hits the ring, and to take absolutely nothing away from the Renegade Twins, Robin Renegade, hard-ass worker. I think she deserves a hell of a push, too. If they do these tag team titles and they do them correctly, like if they have a mid-card tag team and a top-tier tag team title, at the very least, you need to consider the Renegade Twins for at least the mid-card tag team title. Whatever that's going to look like, it needs to be around their waist. They need to get it started. They are workhorses, and I can't say enough positive things about Robin Renegade. She's a hard worker, also been to Japan. And when you get a couple of people that have been to Japan for a little while, Japan does something to you. It just does. Japan is like an exfoliant for professional wrestlers. The UK is also like that too. You do a UK tour with some of the UK promotions and you come back, you're 10 times better than when you left. And that's a fact. And Anna Jay is absolutely no different. Her time in Japan paid off, and it paid off in Benjamins. There were no Jacksons in that ring. And there definitely weren't no Lincolns, and there weren't no Washingtons in that ring. Anna Jay comes on the top of this thing here, not without a fight. Robin Renegade put up one of the most beautiful fights in the world. Now, granted, I've already discussed this a lot in other streams. Robin Renegade is a phenomenal wrestler who, in this particular sense, in instance here, is being used as an enhancement talent. Because Tony doesn't do house shows like WWE does. So basically, he does all of his enhancement and all his work live and in living color. They don't have any house shows to play with. So most of his enhancement comes live and in living color. Shout out to everybody that showed up, man. Hey, thank you. So Robin Renegade did her job as being enhancement talent for Anna Jay. Anna Jay is heads and tails, because I watched some matches for before she went to Japan. I watched as much of the Stardom stuff as I could pull in, mostly clips and stuff, but now I got the full Stardom, so I'm just getting back through watching that. Anna Jay started off kind of rusty, kind of green, but you could tell as that tournament, and once she learned the style, especially, I don't know if they're calling that strong style, but it looked strong to me. Once she figured all that out and brought that back, it really shows. It really shows. That high kick when she had Robin Renegade up there, that is just an indicator of an average move in Stardom. She looked really good coming back. Of course, Anna Jay picks up the pin. Kanoshika Takeshita versus Angelico. I'm with, okay, I will join the crowd with Angelico. Tony, you need to move him up to the main roster. You need to develop him a little bit more. That kid's got swag and style and charisma for freaking days. He doesn't need to stay in an enhancement role, which he's been used with Hologram, and now he's been used with Takeshita. And I know that Takeshita once again come back from Japan, but he came back from the G1 tournament, and it really shows. Takeshita brought it all and some. Angelico was just being Angelico, looking good. Once again, being used in that enhancement slot. I think they need to get him out of enhancement and start giving him a couple little pushes, maybe Ring of Honor, something to that effect. But Angelico definitely needs to get a push. He showed up, showed out, and he made Takeshita look like $1 billion. I want to see them run this thing back, but I want to see it on a Dynamite when it's earlier in the night. For those of y'all that don't know, Rampage usually gets filmed after Dynamite. It's at the end of the night. 9 times out of 10, the crowd's a little bit on the tired side. They're ready to go home. I get it. So the energy for Rampage is not the same as it could be. Shout out to 10 viewers. Thank you. The energy is not the same as it would be if they ran it earlier in the night with a Dynamite match. I would like to see Takeshita and Angelico get it on in a Dynamite match with a different crowd. And that's just it. I think if we had a hot crowd for this, like we did for the earlier part of Grand Slam, I think that would have just been that was the crowd that this match demanded. Takeshita picks up the win, but Angelica, like I said, made him look like about $1 billion. And Takeshita went in there and just filled the role. He stepped right into that tuxedo, and he worked that match like a pro and came out on top, obviously. He's getting a push. I'm not 100% sure if they're pushing him towards Will Ospreay or whether they're pushing him towards Okada, or for God's sakes, I mean, if you're pushing him in Bryan Danielson's direction, Bryan Danielson, that line's a little deep. And, of course, Will's got a couple of people waiting in line, too, so it looks like Okada is the man. That is going to cook for the entire fall. I am there. I am invested. You have my attention. But this match right here, we need to see this again on a Dynamite. And I want to see it early. I want the crowd. I want them fresh for this. Because I want to see what their reaction is to what I saw in Rampage. This match should not have been on Rampage. I understand. I understand what they were backing up. And I know they had a lot of storylines going on. But this one really deserved to be on a Dynamite. Takeshita wins over Angelico. It was not a squash like everybody thought it would be. It was actually a pretty exciting match. And after that, the Acclaim did some shit I'm skipping. I'm not even worried about them. Taya Valkyrie, Willow Nightingale closed out the night. Has Willow ever had a bad match? That's something that I keep asking myself all the time, because even in the hardcore match at All Out, that was a really good match. Now, it started off a little bit slow because you know what? Women aren't typically designed to bounce up and down on thumbtacks, get hit in the head with light tubes, and go through tables. That's not a typical women's match in AEW or definitely not WWE. But it's not typical for women to go through tables, even in AEW. Now, if you're in Stardom and you're working with Giulia, yeah, chances are you're going to get a table spot. But the fact that it just doesn't happen that much on, and it shouldn't. Don't get me wrong. I'm drawing the line on that one. I really do. I draw the line on that. What they did, what her and Stat did, were necessary for that match. Do I want to see that every single day, day in, day out, night in, night out? Do I want to start seeing that regularly? No. But the fact of the matter is, Willow Nightingale is, if not the, she is in the top 3 most over faces in all of professional wrestling. I stand on that. That's a hill I'm happy to die on. There is no better face, men or women, in any promotion right now that is as over as she is. Just watch. I truly believe if she showed up in WWE tomorrow, the crowd would pop, because everybody knows who Willow Nightingale is. And I just want to say right now, Taya Valkyrie, that ROH stuff's been looking good on you, because this was a cheat code. I'm just going to say it right now. I thought it was a cheat code. Now, the review last night, obviously, they didn't think it was that much of a cheat code. I thought it was a cheat code simply because both of them had excellent chemistry in the ring, back and forth. It got the correct amount of time, and it got the correct finish. Willow Nightingale goes over Taya Valkyrie in a mini, at least minimum mini cheat code. I'm going full-on cheat code with that. And that closed out the show. I got to say, I'm going to hate to see Rampage leave for 2 reasons. Number one, I think running SmackDown a third hour is just butt stupid. I mean, that is so ass backwards. All you're doing is bailing them out and giving them more room to be lazy creatively. And plus you're adding in for more of their commercials and so on and so forth. I'm going to hate to see Rampage go, because Rampage is actual wrestling. Now, they've started putting in a few promos and things like that. Few packages, I get it. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, Rampage is mostly wrestling. That's why it's the quickest hour in wrestling, because it's constant motion, constant things going on. Next thing you know, you turn around, it's 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, depending on where you're at. But basically, you turn around and boom, it's done. It's over with. You know, you're done. And you got a reasonable amount of matches in there. I'm going to hate to see that thing go. Obviously, it's on the cutting block. It's on the chopping block now for the new TV deal. And, of course, Swerve Strickland accidentally, intentionally told us that the deal with Fox is pretty much done. They just don't have a complete package of what the show's going to look like. But the deal being done with Fox, the deal being done with this, I mean, Tony at this point right now might be looking at a Billy, so I get it. I get it. I'm going to hate to see Rampage go, though. If I mentioned that lately, I'm sorry. But then we get into Collision tonight, and after watching Grand Slam Dynamite, I was looking for a little bit more out of Collision. Then I remembered, hey, this is a Collision show, and they're competing with Alabama versus Georgia. And even if one is beating the hell out of the other, everybody's going to sit there and watch that. So it's a hard thing to compete with. They're also competing with, I think it was Clemson and somebody. So, I mean, in our immediate area right there, Clemson was playing somebody. Alabama and Georgia are playing. It's pretty much a hard competition to have out there. So good on them for at least not preempting the show or cutting it early or anything like that. That would have been nice. We could have gotten into this earlier. But I get it. They win their regular airtime and so on and so forth. And we opened up the match tonight with Jack Perry driving the Scapegoat Mobile. I don't know what else to call it but the Scapegoat Mobile. Through New York on his way to Arthur Ashe Stadium. And, of course, he shows up, hops out of the attention to detail here. Because we got a lot of matches to get through. Some of them I'm just going to blow through. Some of them I'm going to hang out with for a minute. This is one I want to hang out with because I'm going to make sure I don't get this guy's name wrong. Minoru Suzuki, or as we call him, I think everybody's nickname for him is Grandpa Murder, or Grandpa Murder Gymnastics or something there, something like that. Suzuki shows up and does the traditional Japanese thing, and I get it. People want to watch people chop and chop and chop. Suzuki's your guy for that. We were getting some of this garbage completely out of the way to begin with, and I felt really bad that Jack Perry had to open like that because I know in my mind how the show went. That means by the time Jack Perry got there, they already had roughly 2 hours of the show. And it was already late. Jack Perry shows up, and they get to see a chop fest between Jack Perry and Minoru Suzuki. Of course, Jack Perry goes over the top of Minoru Suzuki. They have a little bit of a jump fest there and everything else and blah, blah, blah. I'm escaping that. Then we had Brody King come out. And, of course, based on the action from Rampage the previous night, we had Brody King versus Action Andretti, and that didn't last much longer than a hiccup. It was over with. Brody King just, he walked in there, handled his business. They let Action Andretti look real good for the first few minutes, and it was pretty much over with. Then we had a Tornado Trios match with Chris Jericho, Brian Keith, and Big Bill versus Orange Cassidy, Kyle Riley, and Mark Briscoe. Out of this entire match here, all I cared about was Mark Briscoe. I'm escaping the rest of the shit. I hope Mark Briscoe's pretty good. I hope he's good. That was a really nasty shot he took close to the end of the match for the pin. Big Bill is coming along pretty well and probably should be his own standalone wrestler at this point. I don't think he needs Learning Tree, and I think Learning Tree is really just dragging him down. And I'm the same with Mark Briscoe. If anything did not need a run this back thing, I'm glad Chris Jericho and Mark Briscoe is probably going to be on Ring of Honor because, I don't think we need that on Dynamite or Collision. If we get that on Dynamite or Collision, I'm specifically not covering that match. I am sick and tired. Now, you want to hear, everybody says I love AEW so much, and I never have anything bad to say about AEW. Well, I'm kicking one off right here, right now. 90 seconds. Chris Jericho needs to be retired. He needs to be in the back teaching younger people how this business works, the strategy behind the way he does things, the psychology of it and everything else. He would be a perfect teacher. We do not need him in the ring in 2024 going over anybody, and we damn sure don't need him making title matches. So for everybody who says that I'm just absolutely I'm a drone for AEW, correct yourself right now. Orange Cassidy, I am sick and fucking tired of the hands in the pants and all that crap. I'm tired of all that. That can go away. That could completely go away. The one thing I will give Tony Khan credit for, he put them both together in the same match. So basically, I don't have to cover them individually. This was a dumpster fire from Jump Street. Chris Jericho is off by at least a step and a half, and it's really starting to show. It really hurts the quality of the match. Orange Cassidy is not too far behind him on that. And out of all of this right here, aside from Big Bill, because I think Big Bill could have a singles career ahead of him if he dumped this whole line of thinking right here and went out on his own. I think he could be fine. I think he could relate. I do believe that. And Mark Briscoe has worked his ass off so much to keep Ring of Honor relevant that I've got to give him street cred every single time. Not to mention he cuts a funny ass promo. But the rest of that ilk right there, pack them all up, throw them in a dumpster, shove the dumpster right in the middle of a hurricane, get it the hell off of my screen. Get it the hell off my television. That's the only and I really hate it because they don't give them weeks off where I can just ignore them casually and then come back the next time and say, oh, well, hey, at least we didn't see them last week. I can't get a break from them. I find it literally impossible to get a break from Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy shows up more than the homeless dude washing your fucking windshield. The only difference is the homeless dude is actually trying. I'm going to leave it right there for just a second. I know that this is a specialized field and very few people make it. Wow, shout out for 15. I get it. I get that this is a fraternity and sorority, and it's very limited as to who's going to get in. I totally get that. I'm just saying if you could short it, Chris Jericho, Orange Cassidy, Titty Licker, Brian Keith, and you know what? I'll even let Kyle O'Reilly stay because he's really trying his ass off. If you get rid of those three right there, I think we could do something. Pack them up, get them the hell out of here. Let Brian Keith go back to New Japan for a little while. He's got some work to do. I'm proud of where he's at, don't get me wrong, but if all he's going to do is say stupid shit after Chris Jericho, and he's going to get in there and lick nipples, he needs to go back to New Japan where you can live with that. It's just not even good. Orange Cassidy can get the hell off my screen tomorrow. I'm good with that. Chris Jericho can go back in the back and start teaching people. Now, normally I would even say that about Jeff Jarrett, but Jeff Jarrett's got at least a little bit of dignity and pride, and he goes in there and works a match and puts people over. Chris, I watched him work that whole match, and I am getting ahead of myself a little bit here, but I really don't give a shit because this is very important too. I watched him work his ass off, and I watched him put Hangman Adam Page over in a way that made Hangman look strong, even for an old man. Carrying them in the ring like that, Hangman looked strong. He looked sympathetic, but not because he was old. He still knows how to work a match and not put himself over. It's 2024, Chris. Either get a rocking chair or teach people, but get the hell out of this. Please. Your legacy, dude. It's past tarnished. Okay? And I'm saying this as a fan. I was a Chris Jericho fan. Break the walls down. Y2J. Talking to Stephanie like the little hoe she is. I got it. Time to go home. You've served your purpose. You've done the work. You've got a Hall of Fame career if you stop fucking it up now. You're already, that train is almost out the station right now. That horse is at least at turn 2. Don't let it get to turn 3. Tornado Trios match. Chris Jericho, Big Bill, Brian Keith pick up the win. Blah, 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 blah. Saraya's Rules match. Now, this was more interesting than I thought it was going to be. I really thought this was a predetermined squash. They were actually going to put, I didn't think they were going to put Saraya over, but I thought she was going to get in a lot more offense than she did. Jamie Hayter is fucking real. And if you don't understand that part of it, shout out to 16. Thank y'all for showing up. I really appreciate it. People have been in and out all night. These are my regulars now. This is about where my regular number is for the moment, and we're going to grow from there. But I just want y'all to know, everybody sitting in here right now, if I could pull up a little, I might even get a little fireside thing where I can hit a button. We can start a fire up. We can roast s'mores. We can do whatever you need to do. We can chop up game, however you want to do it. Thank you guys for being here. I love each and every person that shows up and watches this show. No pause. Anyway, Saraya and Harley Cameron. Where's my thing at here? I know I got it here somewhere. Where am I at? Harley Cameron. Yeah, that sounds about like that. They showed up with their little comedy act. Jamie Hayter showed up. This was a Saraya Rules match, and basically they started off the match by saying, one last rule. The match doesn't start until Saraya smacks you in the face. You know, it's these little tropes. Now, if y'all want to understand how Awesome Truth is supposed to work, watch how this works. Harley Cameron gets in there, grabs the mic, does the introductions, adds on the additional stipulation of the match doesn't start until Saraya smacks you in the head, and it's on. Boom, gone. Cheat code of a match. There are so many moments just in this one little match right here. I want to take a minute to highlight 3 things. Number 1, this is the 3rd time I've seen Jamie Hayter wrestle. She is the real deal. I'm impressed. And to come off of an injury, as I understand it, been out 15 months with an injury, a legit injury. I don't know if that was a legit injury or anything, because I didn't read up on it. It could have been she had a kid. I get along with that. I totally understand that. Time off, I'm down for it. You know, I get it. Trust me. I got 3. I get it. She didn't look like she'd missed a beat. Saraya gets better and better and better by the moment. But the big picture, the thing of it is, and I always tell my son when we're watching this stuff here, I'm like, here's your focus. I say, this is what should be the focus of the match. Because I want him to see it from an analytical standpoint, too. Because time is valuable. When you get to be my age, time is valuable. Every minute counts. Every hour counts. Every day counts. And I try not to waste any of it. So I don't like my time wasted. So I like to kind of explain to him. That way you can make a decision whether you want to stay with the program or not. But the key to all of this was Harley Cameron again. And I know people think I'm simping. I'm not simping. I'm pointing out an actual, live and in living color character development, skill development right before your very eyes. That spot that Harley Cameron took and did not go through the table, I know it hurt her. I know she's hurt. I don't even have to think about it. And they say, oh, well, look, we got a picture of this here. I don't give a damn. That shit hurt. Everybody jokes about the tooth. I went through 3 floors to get that. When I say I went through 3 floors, scaffold fell out from under me. broke my wrist. You remember that I was in a cast for a little while, knocked a tooth out. Shit hurt. I knew how to fall, and I got lucky. So when I say all of that, that spot where Jamie Hayter, where she went through the table, Harley Cameron got real lucky right there, but it also highlights her skills. She has successfully learned how to take a major bump. And I get excited about things like this because, quite frankly, that means she's closer to the main roster. And then we can see what's really going on when she doesn't have to dial it down. You see, right now she's working enhancement. I'm going to keep saying that word over and over and over again because, like I've said on many an occasion right now, AEW does not do house shows. So sometimes they have to tap somebody on the shoulder and say, congratulations, you're the enhancement talent tonight. Because they damn sure ain't jobbers. But that notwithstanding, Harley Cameron took a hell of a shot to the back of the head from a good distance up. I'm going to say 8-9 feet. She got a little whiplash with that. Trust me. Trust me. I saw it. I ran it back, looked at it again. That hurt. She's hurt. I don't think she's injured, but that definitely had to hurt because the table didn't give one bit. And there's no telling how many Mattel toys she just shot through her head. That's neither here nor there. Jamie Hayter took a solid spot, got up, continued working. That was a major bump, too, guys. That was a bad bump. Major bump. Major bump. Got up there, got to working back around. Didn't matter. Picked up the win. It wasn't a cheat code, but it was damn entertaining. I'm just going to leave it at that. And, of course, then we had the AEW World Trios Championship. Now, these things are going now in no particular order. AEW World Trios Championship, we couldn't figure out whether Wheeler Yuta was going to show up and play ball. He did eventually show up and play ball. He did the Festus thing. It was really great. For those of y'all who don't know what the Festus thing is, I got a video on my page somewhere, and I'll put it back up again. I'll put it up in the top end. There used to be this guy in WWE named Festus. He was part of a tag team, and as soon as the bell rang, he come walking in, looked like a total idiot. You know, and it was just Vince McMahon hating on a different stratosphere of people or a different strata of people. Just making fun of him. The bell would ring. He would turn into an absolute apeshit maniacal idiot and beat the hell out of everything moving until the bell rang again. Then he would return to this prone idiot looking, drooling all over himself kind of guy. Okay, Wheeler Yuta is taking that gimmick and making it better. So yeah, Wheeler Yuta, you know, the term they usually go is when they're saying somebody does this, that, and the other, they call them their name plus Hogan. No, this was Wheeler Yuta Festus. He went Festus, then went back to Wheeler Yuta just as soon as the bell rang. Hilarious. I love it. I love the character development in the Blackpool Combat Club. I do like the idea of Pac and Claudio egging him on, kind of like a bully, so to speak. I do like all of what's going on in this development. I think they're very close to getting Wheeler Yuta into that at least top tier mid card, lower end main event picture, and that's coming. It's beautiful. Everybody that says they don't do story development, don't do character development, we've got 2 or 3 of them tonight. And that's fact. You know, that's an absolute fact. That notwithstanding, the Blackpool Combat Club picks up the win. Wheeler Yuta goes nuts. He goes Festus all over everything, picks up the win, and then goes back to the Wheeler Yuta of you hurt my best friend and blah, 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 blah. And then we had a couple little jumps there. I'm passing all that because I had a long-winded introduction. I'm an hour and a half into this, and I know you guys want to do something else, and I'm fine with that. I get it. I appreciate you hanging around. Like I said, like I was telling, for those of y'all who came in a little bit in the late side, I think I'm going to get a little campfire thing going on in there. Since nobody's chatting anyway, I'll put it up to the side. We can have a campfire. We can sit around, roast marshmallows. I don't give a damn. But, you know, I appreciate your company. Hell, we're up to 18 now. Thank you very much. Like, comment, share. This actually turned out to be a better stream than I thought it was going to be. I approached it earlier because I had a lot on my mind, and I wanted to say it in a way where I wasn't as offensive as I could have been, but I didn't really care if I was offensive. If y'all missed the beginning of that, run it back. We're up to 20. Thank you very much. But if you missed that, run it back to the beginning. I had sort of a mild opener that kind of turned into something, and here we are. Lumberjack strap match. I'm just going to do them now in no apparent order because I've got so much that I want to finish up and cover, because I got a couple of matches I want to highlight, and I want to just get everything in there, and I want to get to the matches I want to highlight. I've got a couple in here that I want to highlight, but I want to get all the garbage out of the way, and I want to get the tribute match out of the way too. Hangman Adam Page, Jeff Jarrett, that was a brilliant piece of storytelling. I know Jeff Jarrett didn't pick up the win, but once again, Jeff Jarrett took Hangman Adam Page to another level. What we are actually seeing here right now, and this is one of the things I tell my son all the time when we're watching wrestling, I kind of try to explain it to him because they don't do the video packages. They don't do as much as WWE does to inundate you with information so they can bullshit you from the back door. Okay? That's where you have all of that information. Rule of 10. Once they get the rule of 10 done, they can stick anything to you they want to, and you will eat it up. Once they have satiated you and so on and so forth, but I'm not on that anymore. I'm on something completely different here. This Hangman Adam Page Jeff Jarrett match, in my opinion, was a mini cheat code all the way through, especially in the beginning part when he threw Jeff Jarrett out there and the guys hugged him. That's when he realized there was one way and another way of doing things. It was absolutely beautiful. This match was gorgeous. It was something to watch. And Karen Jarrett getting involved in there, standing by her man, taking the shots for her man, and so on and so forth. Absolutely heroic. Didn't see that coming. Loved that layer of the onion. And here's where Jarrett and Jericho completely differ. Jarrett could have easily gone into business for himself and started putting himself over. The crowd was crazy about this. By the way, shout out to 23. Thank you very much. The crowd was totally into it. Jarrett could have gone into business for himself. He could have done whatever he wanted to do. He did not do that. Now, why is that important? The focus character of this match is Hangman Adam Page. That is the star of this match. When you look at these things here, and if you really want to put that WWE spin on it, that's fine and dandy. That's why I'm explaining it to you this way. That's why I'm going into it this way. That's why my commentary is leaning this way. Hangman Adam Page was the star of this match. Like in the beginning, Jack Perry and Minoru Suzuki was the opening course, but the star was Shibata Bread. The return of Shibata. Shibata was the star of that match. In this match right here, in this lumberjack strap match, Hangman Adam Page was the star. And Jeff Jarrett stood back, worked his side of the match, and let Adam Page develop his character to that next level in front of everybody. Now, we had to know, walking in there, I didn't have any preconceived notion about this. But always in the back of your mind, when you're thinking about the levels that these guys are on, common sense tells you that Hangman Adam Page can find his way to the pay window. You don't know how he's going to get to it. You don't know how he's going to build that finish. But we all know that Adam Page is going to the pay window. Jeff Jarrett did a phenomenal job getting in there. There was a lot of development. There was a lot of ring psychology there. There was a lot going on in that match. You had Karen Jarrett. You had the straps on the outside. You had one leak onto the inside. And at the end of the match, the telling part of the whole thing was the heel low blow. Adam Page telling everybody, I got a little bit more development to go here. I could have beat this Joker earlier, but since the referee ain't looking, I'm just going to take this shortcut and put it away. That was a tell. That means your next Adam Page match is probably going to be with a legend, and he's probably going to open one more layer of that onion before him and Swerve get it back on. And it may be, like Swerve said, this may wind up being a title match by the time Swerve gets back. Because we may have Hangman Adam Page in the world title picture, along with Mox, along with Bryan Danielson. We may actually have Hangman in that title picture by the time Swerve gets back, which that kind of gave me sort of a weird vibe, because there's a probability that he's going to be back in time for Wrestle Dream or shortly thereafter. So I'm not sure where we're at with Bryan Danielson. It looks like that neck surgery could be sooner rather than later. Looks like Mox could capture. But what happened in this match right here, the reason that I have a whole ton of respect for Jeff Jarrett that I never used to have until this very moment, is Jeff Jarrett got out of his own way, let Hangman do his job in the ring, present himself the way he needed to move on to the next level, while still managing to get his shit in, as they say, and a couple of dramatic pieces there overall. But at the end of the day, that was the answer. That Hangman Adam Page was the star of this match. His character development was the star of this match. And Jeff Jarrett showed up, showed out, and made it work. Hangman Adam Page picks up the win, which was to be expected. Cheat code, cheat code, cheat code. There isn't cheat code. For all of the reasons I just explained to you, it's a cheat code of a match. And shout out to Karen Jarrett for still moving around like that. Damn, woman. I ain't seen you move like that since TNA. So, yeah, I mean, shout out to her for that. Shout out to that development. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to being trustworthy. To be in the ring, in that segment, in that moment. Shout out to being ready and trustworthy. Shout out to everybody there. Eminem collection segment. We had Eminem show up, do some stupid shit. It was really weird. It was really awkward. Even my son was like, change the channel. It was that bad. When my son says change the channel, it's bad. It was bad. I'm with everybody else. We needed to leave that shit in WWE. I realize that they're getting a platform to do things in a sort of a different manner, but they're getting a little bit creepy with it. It's starting to get creepy vibes, and when it gets creepy vibes, I mean, I can handle one good hoedown. It doesn't matter whether it's men or women. I try to give everybody equal benefit of the doubt, but that shit right there was hokey and creepy. I'm escaping that whole thing. The big takeaway is they finally got the jacket back, which is really, really shitty, considering the biggest argument right now is the potential main event for Bad Blood started over a freaking bracelet. And the fact of the matter is, we have the Alamed, we have this shit show, and it's over a fucking jacket. Anyway, they did their thing. It was revealed that Billy Gunn somehow took out Hans, whoever the fuck Hans is, and became the model. And then they were starting to do the beat down. And then all of the other models jump on Billy Gunn, and the Elamed run out there. And we have this big long ass fight for no good reason at all. And it was all over a jacket. And all of this could have been on Dynamite or on Rampage. This could have been a Rampage segment too. Couple of matches I would have taken out of Rampage and put into Grand Slam, and I would have taken matches out of Grand Slam and put them into Rampage. This would be one of the things that should have gone to Rampage. It was garbage. It was garbage. It was garbage. It was garbage. It was all of that and a bad. It was a bad. It was a bad segment. Bad and disappointing at the same time. I really hoped in that segment, and I'll tell you why it was disappointing. I really hoped that when Billy Gunn was revealed to be the model, I thought the redeeming quality out of this is maybe we're getting a breakup of the Elamed. And Dude can go off and have his singles run, and Max Caster can just fucking go. Nobody likes your stuff, dude. And shout out, you know what? Shout out to those fans for getting him to go away. What is go away heat, you may say? That's where the fans literally are sitting there telling you to go away. Shout out to that. And they're going to get that again when they get out to California. You watch that happen. But anyway, I'm escaping the rest of this. I thought I was getting something out of this that became blatantly obvious I was not getting it. So I'm just like, you know what? You nerfed me. Okay, I get it. It was funny, haha, now get the hell off of my television. The other thing I will say too is I'm going to do the main event now, and then I'm going to get into the match I really want to talk about because it was the match of the night in my opinion. The main event was the AEW Continental Title Eliminator. I had higher hopes for Okada and Sammy Guevara. The match itself did not disappoint. The result did. It seems to me like they're setting up Okada to be this gatekeeper that he's not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoy it all. My kid got a laugh out of, my son got a laugh out of the middle finger segment. You know, he got a laugh out of that. I said, now here it comes, and he pops that middle finger. He got a laugh out of it. So, I mean, he's got that part down pat and everything else. But it's obvious that the Elite are gatekeeping right now. Those titles aren't going anywhere for a while. And to put Sammy Guevara in the middle of all that after just putting a title on him, I thought was kind of, it was a little bit janky. That's the way we'll just leave it at that. And we'll go with that and just leave it because, I mean, I really appreciate what Okada does. And I'm glad that Sammy Guevara got the time. He's really come very far with Dustin Rhodes. His game is picked up the whole 9 yards. I would have flipped a couple of these things. I would have had this one a little bit sooner. And I really think the other part of it too is they had the Eminem collection segment before this match. And I think it was so extremely deflating that it just killed it for me. And plus, I know good and well that this was taped. So the fans were probably like, guys, all right, we're to the main event. Yay. I think that's what it was. They were like, we want to go home. So, I mean, I really think that's why it was kind of dead. The match of the night was your three-way dance between Hologram, the Beast Mortos, and Dralistico. I told my son who was watching Alabama versus Georgia, I said, if you want to spend about 5 minutes away from that murder in there, come on in here and watch this. And boy, he was just mystified like I knew he would be. This was a cheat code on top of 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 hologram straddling up, popping straight up, landing flat feet on this guy's shoulders, dropping right back down into a hurricanrana. Cheat code, cheat code, cheat code. The main part of this now is there apparently is a feud developing between the Beast Mortos and Hologram. And as I understand the backstory of this, and I picked this up because occasionally I ninja watch a couple of other people, and one of the ones I ninja watch just because I want to get an idea of how stupid things are going is the podcast with Disco Inferno in it and Conan. Now, I have a lot of respect for Conan because he's been in the business for years, and I listen to him tongue in cheek. And, I'm like, well, at least you didn't drool, at least you didn't go to sleep, and you didn't snore. That's the kind of thing I'm looking for now because most of these guys are older than I am. And I did not realize how stupid Disco Inferno is, but he is really butt fucking stupid. I'm just going to tell you that right now. And I don't care how that tastes going down, Glenn. Just letting you know. I call you by your name too, Glenn Gilberti. I don't care how that tastes going down. You're dumb as a bag of rocks and not half as useful. Quote that, clip that. I don't give a shit. He's dumb. But they were talking about one of the things. What got me hooked is they were talking about how Tony Khan had picked up some people and they were calling them by their AAA name and their CMLL names. And it's like, yeah, he goes off to be Hologram and this guy goes off to be Beast Mortos. So they've got history. These two have history. So the storytelling part of this is I think the Beast Mortos is going to have to eat one more L. Either that or they'll put him in there. They'll put Hologram in there with Dralistico and he'll eat the L. Somebody's going to eat one more Hologram L on this before it moves to the next phase. But you know what, Tony? You can run this one back at a pay-per-view. Not the very next one, but you can run this back at the pay-per-view after next. This was gorgeous. Cheat code, cheat code, cheat code, cheat code. And is anybody else surprised and amazed at how well the Beast Mortos moves for a big man? Is anybody else as amazed and surprised as I am? I don't think that exists. I really don't. I don't think that exists at all. I couldn't be any more surprised. Every time Beast Mortos gets in the ring, every single time he does something new and it wows me. Same thing with Hologram. Hologram just comes up. He's an innovator. Let me say that again. Hologram is an innovator. Dralistico, first time I've seen you in a while, dude. I understand the hype. You guys are 3 certified luchadors, and I'm there for this. Shout out to 24 people. Thank you. So, between the back and forth, between the flips, between what everybody else calls that flippy shit, unless Rey Mysterio's doing it, yeah, I said that out loud. I say the quiet parts out loud all the time, guys. Get used to it, because that's the way I am going forward. And normally this would be an even quicker stream. I'm just getting everything off my chest tonight, so I don't have to do so much of it tomorrow or next week. Hologram picks up the win. He's undefeated in AEW, and I think we need to discuss this now because the freight train is heading in the direction of King Ricochet. 3 things I'm going to say. Number 1, there is God and it's not me. Number 2, we have been blessed with extremely talented lucha competitors. Enjoy it while you got it. This is a whole new level for westernized wrestling. It's definitely worth the price of admission and the whole 9 yards. I kept telling him, though, the same thing. Dralistico would drop out of the match every so often here because the match really was between Hologram and the Beast Mortos. And quite frankly, they did not disappoint. I went home happy with just, we could have stopped right there. And I would have had a great rest of my night. It would have been perfect. Tony, we need to see this one in a pay per view. And you need to step it up one more notch. I think we need to have a Tornado 4-way in there. And since Ray Fenix has got some time left on his contract, which is what I'm going to close the show out with, by the way, I think if Ray Fenix would be willing to work that match, here's what I would do. I would make a deal with Ray Fenix. I would say, Ray, I got this guy Hologram here. I need you to help me put him over. Could you do that? And I'll let you go. I had a plan for these guys here and for you guys here, but since you guys really want to leave, I'm going to have to do this a little bit differently. If you could work this for me, I'll be happy to let you go. I think that's the deal that needs to get made. Or if you decide you want to stay at AEW, I've got a phenomenal singles run you can be on right now. Whatever it takes to get Hologram, Ray, Dralistico, and Beast in one ring at one time. Luchador death match. Not a death match, but you know where I'm going with this. Put that in a pay-per-view. Let Ray Fenix bless him. And then let Ray go. But since I know Ray Fenix is not going to bless him, that brings me into my final segment of the night. I started off hot, I'm ending hot. Business is business. By the way, Hologram did win, undefeated, so on and so forth. I continue to be impressed. Hologram continues to innovate offense every week. Hologram continues to be the man that Tony can put a rocket on and send him straight to the moon. I don't see why not. The inevitable lockup between him and Ricochet is literally going to feed families. We're going to get through that there, and I see that coming. Ricochet and Will Ospreay got a date this Wednesday that they got to handle some business. I think Ricochet comes out on the back end of that with the title, and then we point Hologram at Ricochet, and that's going to be beautiful to watch too. That brings me to my closing here because, like I said, I've kept y'all here. We're almost 2 hours into this thing. I never thought this has been the fastest 2 hours. I want to thank all of y'all for hanging out with me, especially the first 2 or 3 of you that stuck in through the whole thing. I want to thank y'all for sticking with me. It means a lot to me. Y'all are my people. I hope I'm your people. But I'm going to close this night out and put the other drone babble to bed. Literally, Sheamus right now would like to leave. And I don't blame him. He's been there for 20 years. Time to move on. Greener pastures. He's got a few years left on him. Probably saw Adam Copeland doing his deal down there in AEW. Said, hey, maybe I can go down there and Tony will give me a bag and I can retire happy. Unfortunately, he had injury time on him, and WWE says, well, we don't even need to talk about your contract yet because it's not up. And they're correct, because he has injury time. Now, there was absolutely zero, and The Rock means zero energy for that whole scenario. So what, Sheamus don't matter to y'all? Is that what you're trying to say? But Tony Khan finally stepped up and said, you know what, Ray, I need to get at least almost a year's worth of work out of you. And the entire internet lost their damn minds. Oh, this is shitty. This is that. This is the other. Couple things we need to cover, and I did not get that deep into it yesterday. I wanted to, but I didn't. But I'm going to step it all the way through here now in these closing minutes here. By the way, shout out to 26. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you. I'm going to wrap this thing up in a bow for you. This is a lot of how these businesses work. When they're hurt, regardless, they're still drawing paychecks from home with insurance, by the way, something else WWE doesn't give their wrestlers because they're independent contractors. And even though they're independent contractors for Tony, Tony still insures all of them. Shout out to Tony for that. But when they're sitting at home, they're drawing a paycheck. And Ray Fenix sat at home a lot and drew a paycheck. And, of course, his brother was running around talking about how great this deal was and everything else and blah, 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 blah. Tony says, hang out here a minute now. I still get a year out of you. So on and so forth. That's called business. He's already been paid for work that has not yet been rendered. Now, for those of y'all saying, well, but he got hurt working there. You know what? You got hurt working somewhere at some point in time. You still had to go back and do your job. Yeah, you could stay out for a little while and go to the hospital and all that, but they still want to get the work out of you. You know? You're paying into those benefits, guys. They're not giving you anything. And when those benefits that you worked into run out, they quit paying you again. Then you either go back to work or you starve. Pretty much how it works. Ray owes a year of paid time, paid money from this hand to this hand, paid time. Ray owes him that. Now, should Tony let him get out of it? No. Eyes Wide Open originals who have been present for every single twist and turn that the WWE has thrown at Tony Khan. And your last gasp dying act was to brag for real, and you thought, well, he's going to be a good guy. You know what? That good guy shit goes away after a while. But it's not even a matter of being a good guy or a bad guy. It's a matter of being a businessman. Like I said on the stream yesterday, not one single person within the sound of my voice, a majority of people won't even tolerate getting their order messed up at McDonald's. And those are the same people who are standing there indignant with all that fake rage going on. Oh, Tony Khan, this is not Tony. This is not fair. It's totally fair. Half of you want let me back that up. Half of the WWE drones will not get out of Burger King without a perfectly made sandwich. Are the same people who are sitting there making fun of Tony Khan for hanging on to talent he's already paid for. I've seen some of y'all folks get a certain kind of way over a fucking $2 milkshake. But when it's 10 million, or that's an exaggeration. When it's $1 million, oh, well, Tony should just eat that. He's a billionaire anyway. He should eat that. You know what? The next time your milkshake gets fucked up, it's $2. You should just take it, shut the hell up, and walk out yourselves. Now, how does that sound? Not too cool. But that's life. They made a decision. They made choices. They did adulting. Now we're all doing adulting. Just because our adulting doesn't match your adulting doesn't mean your adulting is correct and our adulting is wrong. Doesn't happen that way. But guys, seriously, I've had you for 2 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, I swear, coming through everything that we've come through this week so far, getting through this hurricane, getting through Helen, I got some really good friends right now that are struggling and are really struggling now because of this. Some people I know have lost their homes, and some of them didn't have insurance, and those are the folks that are in my thoughts and prayers all the time because now they got to depend on FEMA to get them over the hump. I'm not digging that. So I appreciate all of y'all hanging out with me while I get all of this out of my system all the way across the board. That means the world to me. I really appreciate that. We got some good football coming in tomorrow, from what I understand. And then we got Monday Night Football to go over and interrupt Raw because apparently Raw can't do business anymore if there's football on the channel. But I need it. I'm just being a smart ass at this point. It's late. I'm trying to get some of y'all to laugh because I can just feel that energy. We are going to try and do a stream depending on how everything lines up. I'm going to try to do one Wednesday. My preview stream, like I've been doing with the Hump Day stream, we're going to try to pull that off on Wednesday. And then Friday, we're going to do the pre on that. And then Saturday, we're going to be back here live for Collision. And like I said, after this hurricane thing here, after all the stuff we went through, I was actually doing a live in the middle of a windstorm and a really, 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 really big windstorm. Just because I was just trying to get my mind off everything that was going on. I appreciate you guys that showed up for that too. But I want you to take a little time, look around you, take inventory of the people that give a shit about you, and make sure you make a concerted effort to let them know that they mean something to you. That could be, and I'm not trying to be dramatic here, I'm just telling you how things go. That could be the very last thing they hear. There are a lot of people who woke up on Thursday and thought they were going to be watching the Alabama and Georgia game tonight, and not only are they not watching it, they're no longer with us. So, when people are on your mind, and I'm pretty sure my wife's watching right now, hey honey, I love you, live and living color. Take that time. Let them know. Because in all honesty right now, if you got absolutely nothing out of this latest hurricane event, the one thing I want you to get out of it is life is short. Don't take 1 minute for granted. And with that, this has been your AEW Collision and Rampage review here on Graps TV and the Sicko Show. I am your host, the Matty Man, reminding you, at the risk of sounding like Baldy over on Raw, make sure you spend some time, love somebody. And as always, I just want to say, good night, America, wherever you are. Thank you for your time. Blessings on all of you. Take care. Enjoy the rest of whatever's going on tonight. And I will definitely probably see you tomorrow in between football games. Take care. Be blessed. And good night, America, wherever you are.